Good morning and a warm welcome to each one of you for your history class today. I am teacher Jansi and I will be teaching you history this year. I hope you all find history interesting. History is a very interesting subject. It tells us about the events that happened in the past. History is the story of people on our planet. It is the human story about our ancestors who evolved from apes and how did they settle in one place and form their settlement. History tells us the story of everything that people have ever done thousands of years ago. It is important to study history because by understanding our past and where we came from, we hope to better our present and even decide about what might happen in the future. History, by telling us about the past, improves our present and prepares us for the future. I hope you will watch the video and will try to understand what has been explained in the lesson. So let us begin with the first lesson of your EVS 2 textbook, What is History? What have we studied in Standard 4th? In Standard 4th, we studied the life of Chhatrapati Shivaji Maharaj and his mission of establishing Swaraj in Maharashtra. We also studied about his battles, how he defeated his enemies. We learnt about his stories of valor and bravery and how he won many forts. When we are studying about all these events, what time are we referring to? Are we talking about present times? No, we are talking about the past events. The events that took place during the time of the birth of Shivaji Maharaj. The birth of Shivaji Maharaj was about 400 years before now, or 400 years ago. So we are studying about past events. And by studying about the life of Shivaji Maharaj, we understand how important it is to fight for our motherland, to protect our motherland and to respect our motherland. For our convenience, for our understanding, we divide time in many different ways. Often we use words like now, some time ago, after some time, or today, yesterday, tomorrow, or this year, next year, etc. When we use these words, we are actually measuring time in our minds. Now, today, and this year are terms that indicate the present. Some time ago, yesterday, and last year are the terms that indicate the past. After some time, tomorrow, and next year are the words that indicate the future. The time that is already gone by is the past. The time that we are in now is the present. The time that is yet to come is the future. The past includes many events that have already taken place. For example, if you are 10 years old today, it means the event of your birth happened 10 years ago in the past, that is in the year 2011. Similarly, after 10 years from now, that is in the future, you will be 20 years old. The time gone by between today and the day of your birth is your past. The past is the life of a person. The scientific method of history. How does history make use of science? What is science? Science is mostly based on experiments, facts and tests. And the special characteristics of all the sciences is that their facts or evidence can be tested in experiments. And if an experiment fails, we can try and test it again and again. We can repeat those experiments anytime and anywhere. So the method of using a number of different tests to determine whether the evidence is reliable is called scientific method. Many things have had happened since our birth and we may not know about it, but we come to know about those stories from our parents or grandparents or neighbors and relatives. They often tell us amusing stories of our childhood. Those stories are a part of their memory. But have you ever noticed same story is been told differently by different people? When different people tell us about the same story, about the same event, we find differences in their narration. then we often think which story is right. Therefore, it is important to examine, to check the details of each narration carefully and decide the correctness of the facts. We must always be aware and should check facts before believing anything. History uses scientific method at every stage. The events that had already happened in the past, we cannot recreate it. History is considered to be a scientific discipline because history uses scientific method at every stage. For example, while looking for and collecting evidence. What does evidence means? Evidence means proof. While examining the evidence means while studying or checking the evidence and while putting it together. At times when required, help is also taken from other sciences. That is why history is considered to be a scientific discipline. Remember children, history cannot be written solely on the basis of imagination. There should be enough evidence and proof to support the facts. Sources of history. Sources of history means the important or original source from where we get the most basic information. Sources of history are of three types: material source, written source, and oral source. Material sources include ancient objects like pots, coins, structures, sculptures, buildings, temples, monuments, etc. Written sources include inscriptions, books, manuscripts, copper plates, bhurja patras, etc. And oral sources include traditional songs, stories, folk tales, ovis, poadas, which have been remembered over many generations. In order to find out what happened in the past and how it happened, evidence available from all these sources is collected and is thoroughly examined and studied. With the help of evidence, past events are put in a proper sequence and an historical account is written. This is the scientific method. The study of history helps us to find answers to many questions. By telling us the life stories of great people, history serves to motivate and inspire us. We get to know about our ancestors, their life, our freedom fighters, how did they fight to make our country a free and an independent nation. We develop a sense of responsibility by reading stories about great men. By studying history, we get to know about the give and take that took place between our own and other civilization. We learn about the progress of human civilization. Every village, city, district, state, and country has its own history. Similarly, the earth, its mountains, water bodies, the animal world, mankind all have their own history. By studying history, we learn that we have to be united if we have to achieve our goals. Individual or collective actions of human beings have consequences. Whatever we do as an individual or as a group, it will have some result. The result will either be good or bad for the progress of society. Actions done by human beings may either be favorable or unfavorable, and it will affect our daily lives. For example, if the people of a village will work together and help one another, the village makes good progress. And if the people cannot come together, it will put obstacles in the way of village development. The past, present, and future are linked by a continuous chain of events. For example, the Indian people fought against the British government to get independence. So this is an historical action. As a result, India became an independent nation on 15th August 1947. So we can say that independence was a consequence of an action, that is India's people struggle for independence. The events of today are linked with past actions. Also, the future depends on past events. We know that the discovery of wheel for making pots were later used in carts and now in all transportation. And also how with the materials available in nature man learned to make fire. The next generations added to this development and we have better things now which we use in our daily lives. Technology developed further hand in hand with the physical and intellectual development of man. This process is going on continuously even today. Inventions of today are only possible on the foundations and discoveries of the past. So children, today we learned that history is a science that tells us about the past. Events of the past have an impact on our present and future. Also, that the past, present and future are linked by a continuous chain of events. Thank you children for watching the video. Notes of the lesson will be given in the next class. Have a nice day.